Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Again.
We're back. In true fashion, we had a technical issue and Christina couldn't hear me, but you all could hear us both because I checked the feed. So I don't know what's going on.
Tell me what's been up. What's been going on?
Listen, it's just been 12 hours of nursing a child that doesn't want to sleep, and I'm hoping he sleeps through this. Balancing that and work and all the things. So I had a weird thing I was messaging you because I had some weirdness today outside of my appearance.
You don't look weird.
So weird. I'm literally in I was like, oh, maybe I should put like a little sweater on over my ripped shirt and my nursing bra so the people won't have to see all that gorgeousness. Um, so I'm sitting here, and one of my things that I do for work, a lot of you don't know what we do on the side or for our real jobs or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, for money.
Yeah.
I work for a digital marketing company, and one of the things I do is on Mondays, I have all of my scheduled social media content for our clients done, and I send it kind of to my boss, and then she just kind of looks over it, edits what she needs to, and then it's like, okay, you can go ahead and schedule. So I have family in town this week. And I was like, I'm going to do this early. I never do it early. It's usually like over the weekend that I'm doing it for like the upcoming Monday. So on Monday, I know for a fact that I sat down and scheduled 4 clients content for March 29th through like April 2nd. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
some of them are only 3 a week, some of them are 5 a week, some of them are different platforms. We have one scheduling thing we use. So today I was like, okay, I know I had to go in and edit one, so I was going to go in and just make sure I have all my hashtags in there, like whatever. There's legit one day with one client stuff scheduled. And I'm going, didn't I do that? Like that was hours of work
Yeah.
because you schedule it and then you have to do different times for different platforms.
Yeah.
It's not there. And there's no way of it just disappearing really. So
Yeah.
that made me go, did I schedule them? Did I
Uh-huh.
dream this? Am I having a moment? But like I'm almost positive I scheduled all of these.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you would remember doing it.
yeah,
I mean, for as many as you had to do.
yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know. And then like we have that same electrical issue going on in the house, and like Mike worked on it the other day. He finally like had his little belt thing out and he was just going in and like messing with all the receptacles. I mean, he worked on it for hours.
Yeah. And still,
It's still something's awry. So, and that only happened after we did the Nona episode. That's where
yeah.
it started. It didn't start till then, and it's still going on.
Well, you remember like when you first started coming over to our house, like Missy would be sitting on our couch and all of a sudden the lights in our living room would start flickering.
Yeah.
You're looking around like,
I'm like, is that something? Is that someone? What's happening? But it wasn't like all of them at the same time either. It was different. And that's kind of like in my house, how it's like just specific ones, like in 3 or 4 different places, but not all of them. I don't know.
yeah.
And why did it start out of nowhere?
Well, I mean, I don't think it started out of nowhere. I think it was Nona. I
Well,
think.
can she like not? No, that's a no.
Well, it makes me wonder too if maybe, like sitting here thinking about it now, I wonder if maybe it was also some of like Logan being born and the new baby energy coming in,
Yeah.
you know, change happening. I can kind of disrupt things energetically a bit.
And I
But
guess we have a few extra guides in the house now when you think about it.
mm-hmm,
I
that's
didn't
right.
think about that. We've got some extra spirit guides hanging around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember Jackson's, Peter and Paul? Yeah.
Peter and Paul.
Remember when they were, this is so crazy, you guys. There was a night, gosh, this was a year ago, probably, like not long after I met you. And
Mhm.
like I sent you a video, because you were saying something, sent you a picture of something, and you were like, I see two, I think of Jackson spirit guides. You know, they say their names are Peter and Paul. And I'm getting goosebumps all down my left side right now because you were like, they're saying something about Dracula, Dracula, Dracula. I'm serious. I have goosebumps just on my left side. That's weird. And then I sent you a video because Jackson was running around with a towel over him like a superhero. And I'm like, you were like, I don't know why they're saying this, but they're like, Dracula, Dracula. He was running around.
Eight going.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, and then I sent you that video that because Jackson was running around with a cape on. It was weird. It was, yeah.
What was so cool about that? Because I didn't have really any experience with young children spirit guides until I met you. And I thought that that was so cool when I talked to Peter and Paul a little bit, because they were like two kindergarten teachers.
Yeah.
That a lot of children like that. I have lots of animal spirit guides too. The animals will teach children, you know, in their really small, younger years. What's wrong?
You're breaking up.
Oh, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep
going.
But one of the things that they said was that children have to look at animal spirit guides because the different animals will teach the children different abilities that they need to learn. Like they were showing me like a cow or something for Jackson at one point, I think.
Yeah.
It was teaching him how to be still and, you know, how to stay stationary in a particular place. So really cool being able to meet those different, you know, fast spirit teams. Because you don't really think about it as a medium, like for small children. Like, what are the teams like?
It's interesting that you talk about the cow because of his moo, you know?
Oh, yeah, moo!
Not only that, sorry, this is very off topic, but I'm curious if we're going to actually be able to upload this to Anchor because of how bad you're breaking up.
Am I still breaking up?
Not every time you talk, but once you get going, yeah. In true Ghosties form, we are having issues today.
Gosh, no.
Is there someone around you that needs to be crossed over? Is there somebody hanging out that wants to like come through for someone? Like what's happening?
I don't know. I'm interested to know though, like you said that you got chills side.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Chills down my left side is usually spirit.
What spirit? You were breaking up.
Listen, y'all. Here, please. Usually I'll get like chills or like a feeling on my left side, like pressure, if there's a spirit that needs to be crossed over in my space.
Yeah.
It's different. Everybody senses things different. So
yeah. Well, I was it's funny, before we got on, I was scrolling through Facebook, and one of my best friend growing up when I was little, I've told you about her parents passing years ago, and I had a dream about them. And she doesn't know that, nor does her brother, but her brother was a little bit younger than us. And he posted a picture of his mom today. And I guess it's been 5 years since she passed. And when I looked at that picture, I had a feeling I needed to read, but I was like, no, I'm too close to her, you know, or was when I was younger. So
yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not sure how she passed. I wasn't really in contact with the family around that time, which kind of broke my heart because I never, you know, it was sad, you know, sad because she was like a second mom to me. But when I saw the picture today, she showed me a blue heart, which when I looked that up, medical terms, I saw something about respiratory. So I don't know if it was a respiratory issue. And I don't want to ask because it's not my place, you know. But
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if maybe that's some energy from her or what.
Yeah. Yeah. Could definitely be.
I feel like it's getting heavy in here.
Yeah. Before we started the broadcast, you know, I did my usual, you know, like calling of protectors. And and I should have specified while I was doing that to keep the Wi-Fi going. Usually I do, but
Yeah.
since I was in the Florida room last time when we recorded the last Spirits with Spirit, and I did the best in here, so I'm gonna try and hopefully
Yeah.
clear.
We can try. I mean, I don't know. I'm afraid. But I did we have a short window, kind of, because Mike is doing all of the work, and I told him we needed about 30 minutes of no drills going off or nothing. So I'm afraid if we get into that also, he's going to start. I don't know.
Wait, do you try? Do you want to try and go into the store?
Yeah, we can at least, do the stories on here, upload it to YouTube, and worst case scenario, either skip a week or try to re-record later.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
I'm going to open the stories here. Have you looked at any of the stories yet?
I haven't read any of them yet. We're doing those stories this week, everybody.
Yeah. UFO stories, yes. It's going to be good stuff.
Yeah.
And these, all of these UFO stories are from Hampton Roads.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
I'm going to have to read off my phone so y'all don't judge me. Let's see, we have a couple people watching. Hi. If you're watching us, you can say hi in the comments because I can see them over here and I can talk to you. And if you don't want to, that's fine. And yeah, we're doing UFO stories. So these are pretty cool.
Cool.
Okay. Here we go. The first one is Virginia Beach. It says 5 crescent-shaped objects were traveling information, moving like saucers, bouncing off the top of water, up and down, up and down. There was a Virginia Beach police officer at the time who saw these semi-translucent globes coming over the horizon several miles out at treetop level. He revved up his patrol car. It was early, around 2 a.m. in midsummer of 1975. Right at that time, 4 Navy fighter jets came buzzing by, seemingly chasing these objects. So it's 2 a.m. This police officer's on patrol. He sees this thing like bouncing out over the horizon. So he's like, I'm going to go find out what this is. And here comes 4 Navy like fighter jets. Okay. Yeah. He followed them, zooming down the city's roads to keep up. He wanted to keep them in sight. The UFOs eventually went towards the ocean front and disappeared over the sea, outmaneuvering the pilots. It says the scene, which came straight out of a sci-fi movie, stuck with him the rest of his life, including the image of a jet flying right over his car. He says these planes were armed. They had Sidewinder missiles. You don't fly armed jets over a populated area unless it's national security. I'm getting goosebumps all over right now. Like I have full body chills.
Ew. Oh
yeah.
My God.
So yeah, he said these, that these jets were fully armed, and he's like, unless there's a national security, you don't see them flying over like that.
Yeah.
He said it was his 3rd and last UFO sighting. He says, I've long since given up what people think of me. I know what I saw. I know that what I saw was real. It wasn't an illusion. Can I explain it? No, but I'm not going to worry about it. There have long been reports of unidentified flying objects buzzing around Hampton Roads skies. It makes sense with the region home to several military installations and NASA facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Here is one thing I was talking about when we were doing the recording last week about, it says such reports can be traced as far back as 1813.
Oh my God.
It says a Portsmouth tavern owner claimed to have watched a ball of fire weave over Norfolk County. He wrote about the incident to Thomas Jefferson.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love it. I am here for all of it.
Yeah. It says, but often the sightings have been easily dismissed, written off, and not taken seriously. But that changed recently. The Navy updated its protocol for reporting what it calls unexplained aerial phenomena. And several pilots have come forward saying they've seen UFOs as close as Naval Air Station Oceana and Virginia Beach. It says the move by military brass brought the topic out of the shadows, providing a sense of legitimacy to obsessed amateur skywatchers and to what they've seen. Police and news reports, interviews, and emails are full of flashing lights and objects that move like no other. Astronomers and Others offer logical explanation for some sightings, but not all. Um, and yeah, you can, if you read their accounts, you might, you know, find
Wow,
yourself interested in that. Yeah.
that is crazy. That
Mm-hmm.
of when we did our recording last week, and I was telling the story of when I saw a UFO. I would love to know what part of Virginia Beach they were in, but I can only assume that they were probably at the oceanfront
Yeah.
because the oceanfront, you're like right in the flight path of Oceana and the military.
Right.
It's nothing to hear fighter jets flying at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock in the morning, sometimes later. Um, so that's crazy. And just from our experience in watching jets, fly over for as many years as we did, we never saw them armed ever. So
So Ralph is watching. Hi, Ralph.
I
He says, I've seen 10 lights off of Virginia Beach just like that on an Army boat coming home from Guantanamo Bay. Um, he says, me and two others on the 12 to 4 a.m. watch saw it and still recall it to this day. And they definitely weren't planes either. They hover and cross paths on groups of 5.
wow. That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, come
Yeah.
just a little closer to Newport News.
Well, there's a Newport News one. Don't worry. There's a story in Newport News one in there.
Good.
And it's kind of like when we did our second Spirits with Spirit last week, when we were on Instagram with Jay and Amy. Jay had a UFO sighting.
Ooh.
Remember?
Yeah.
Can you hear the hammering? Okay. All right. Well, if it gets too bad, then we'll stop. But my husband is remodeling our laundry room, so please bear with me. Okay.
So
Christina.
next story.
Yeah.
So it says on July the 14th, 1952, flight officer and William Fortenberry were alone in the cockpit of their Pan Am American Airways Douglas DC-4 en route from New York to Miami. Nash was pointing out landmarks to Fortenberry as they were cruising over the Chesapeake Bay, and he just spotted Newport News. Then they saw them. 6 discs, geez, 100 feet wide. Nash said that they were glowing like red holes. And this is 1952, so they probably had like no way to gauge, what they were even seeing other than what their own experience was.
Yeah.
It says 2 more joined before all blinking their lights to the west of the plane over the peninsula before entering a steep climb and disappearing. There is no doubt in our mind that we saw some sort of missile that was operating under intelligent control, Nash said. No one else on the plane noticed anything, but the people on the ground did. 3 Norfolk residents confirmed the accounts to the Daily Press days later. Geez. Langley Air Force officials told the newspaper the pilots or tracers being fired at the bombing and target range on Plumtree Island. More local sightings soon followed, and soon the buzz around UFO sightings went national. A Hampton couple told the Daily Press that they saw 8 yellow-orange lights between Buckrow and Fox Hill. Holy crap. A commercial airplane pilot said that he saw 8 lights. Later month, radar on the National Airport in Washington picked up unidentified objects, causing the Air Force to scramble their jets. It was the largest group of sightings since 1947. That is insane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what draws them. Like, what brings them to certain areas versus others.
Right. Well, like this is saying, we have so much military bases and NASA and everything around here that, maybe that. I started to watch that Bob Lazar special earlier, but I was, it was in the background. I was trying to do some work and Logan was crying and it was just, I couldn't keep up, but
yeah. It's a good one if you ever have the chance to watch it.
It's on Netflix. Here's one. This is Newport News, 1957.
Ooh, okay.
A ground observer corps member who was on duty at the time was watching a formation of 6 B-57. Sorry, I was looking at the comment from Ralph. Jets take off at Langley when he looked up and saw a flattened oval object hovering in the sky. He watched the object for about 10 seconds, turned to pick up his binoculars, and when he returned to his original position, the object was gone.
Gee.
So a year later, at the Virginia Beach oceanfront, a pilot reporter saw an object at the oceanfront that was acting as no known plane or missile would act. It seemed to be silvery or white along cylindrical. Sorry, I cannot pronounce that.
Cylindrical?
Cylindrical, is that what it is? I'm like cylindrical. My brain. Sorry, again, I have not slept. Object, and it also seemed to emit a stream of white smoke as it hung in the darkening pink sky.
Mhm.
After hovering for several minutes, the object began moving slowly southward, losing altitude. Motorists watched in amazement as they drove along Atlantic, watching the phenomenon. For the next 3 decades, people reported UFO sightings in waves around Hampton Roads. One account is of a 15-year-old boy firing 2 shotgun blasts at a UFO he saw in Pocosin. Another, in 1983, is of a man in Alexandria, which is not Hampton Roads. But apparently he sued the Air Force on claims that the Langley base in Hampton was hiding long dead creatures from outer space packed on ice.
What?
So just like they may have been housing them and studying them at Area 51, this person was suing the Air Force on these claims that they were studying dead alien bodies at Langley.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm glad I didn't read these stories beforehand. That is crazy.
I was like going through and editing them before I sent them to you, and I'm like, this is some good stuff.
Yeah, you did a good job. I mean, these are
good.
All right, next one. It says alien rights made it to a political debate in the Commonwealth in 1965 after a sheriff in Western Virginia became alarmed by the number of citizens carrying arms following several U.S. reports. The sheriff preached and, quote, who's got the right to mow them down? Law which makes it a crime to shoot a little green men from space. After the 1980s, newspaper stories about sightings dropped off, but then in May of 2019, pilots from the VFA-11, well, the Red Rippers fighter squadron out of Naval Air Station Oceana, they see UFOs for several starting in 2014. Up to 30,000 feet in the air, sometimes hypersonic speed, had no exhaust plumes, and moved in ways impossible for humans, such as making sudden stops and turns. One was described as a sphere encased in a cube. Whoa. A naval spokesman said that the new UFO reporting was an update of instructions that went out to the fleet in 2015 after those incidents when the squadron was training off of the U.S. Theodore Roosevelt. Within the last few years, there's been observed incursions in certain training areas, especially off the Virginia Capes down to Florida. The sightings had occurred on quite a frequent basis. The reports have been frequent but anecdotal because many years of aviators were scared of reporting them. And that is true. I've watched many a documentary about even commercial pilots for planes saying that they had seen something, but because it was so taboo, they knew it would ruin their career if they reported it to anyone higher up. So they just didn't report it. He said there had always been guidelines in place, but over the years, due to the stigma attached with some of the reports, the aviators had been less than forthcoming in reporting the incidents because they were afraid of being teased by their coworkers. The Navy wants to gather enough data about the unexplained phenomenon to analyze and study them. Naval officials have gone down to Oceana to encourage pilots to report new sightings as soon as they happen. Pentagon leaders went to drive home the point that from the naval perspective, there is no stigma. So I think that's crazy because I feel like that's new, like really new.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's crazy. Ralph had a story that he just shared it. I was going on there to try to comment it, and I accidentally deleted it. So I've asked him to share it again, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I deleted it." And then I was trying to type, and it was not typing. And I'm like, "Okay, well,
Sorry about us, Ralph.
sorry, Ralph. We appreciate your stories." And he said something about seeing dark figures or something. I don't know. I need to
Ooh.
see
Ooh.
that or message us later. This
Ooh, you're freezing. Missy? Missy? Missy, you're frozen. Hello? Oh, Missy just said to hang on. Their internet just went down over there. Oh my goodness. Y'all, this is some crazy stuff in terms of the UFOs. And just an FYI, I can't see comments on my end. Missy can see them. I think she's rebooting her feed. I will say, just as a little cool side note, while we wait for Missy to sign back on, it was a couple of years ago, and I was reading about UFOs, and I decided that it would be cool to look at the real-time UFO reports, that have been actually reported by people, because there's a database of those on the internet. So I was trying to figure out like my own theory as to why there seems to be like an accumulation of sightings prior to certain things that happen in the world. Maybe that was my theory. Like maybe there's a more steady accumulation of sightings and they become more numerous because perhaps there's a large event on a world scale that's about to happen. So that was my theory. So I was able to trace back I started looking by state. And one of the things I wanted to see was around the time prior to 9/11, if there was more sightings in certain areas. And there was an increase from what was reported of sightings around airports, if I remember correctly, which I thought was interesting. But 9/11 specifically was really the only thing that I noticed a correlation in a spike of increased. Hey!
continue.
Anyway, that was really the only event that I saw a consistent increase in sightings. So that blew my theory out of the water. So I truly have no theory as to why there seems to be an accumulation of sightings in certain places versus others.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph's story, and everybody can see this, but I'm going to read it because I don't remember if you can see the comments or not. Can you? Okay. He says, "My wife, dog, and I all saw 3 very tall black figures standing in the field at Lee Hall. The dog was going crazy, barking and losing her mind. 3 tall black figures, all different heights, at least 8 feet tall. We walked back to the house, asked them not to follow us, and then I got shoved from behind while walking home.
Yeah.
Earlier in the day, I was practicing CES meditation and simple extraterrestrial connection, and they showed up."
Whoa. Whoa. Ralph, wait, repeat the last part that you said?
It says earlier in the day I was practicing. I'm sorry. Is that CE5 meditation and simple extraterrestrial connection, and they showed up.
Gotcha. Definitely, Ralph, if you don't already do this, before you go into meditation, make sure that you've surrounded yourself in a really good protection shield of white light. Because when you enter meditation, you're kind of basically leaving your body a little bit and going onto the astral, or onto the astral plane. And there is a smorgasbord of different entities that are on the astral plane as we meditate, that range from great to not so great.
Yeah.
So just you're real good and protected while
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go in the last story because things might start getting loud in a minute. So we're going to have to cut it short.
okay.
But Ralph may be one that we would like to talk to about some other things sometimes because he seems to be sensitive to a lot of this stuff, he and his wife. So that
Cool.
could be a good spirits with spirit night potentially.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yes, we still got to work on our next one. I know we're going to have Amy and Jay on again because they have so many more stories. But we got to work on our next spirit with spirit night because those are so fun.
I know. That would be awesome.
Yes. All right. The last one, and this is long, and I can't even remember what all I put in there. I don't know. I just did this, and I just can't remember anything. Anyways, here we go. A Salem High School graduate experienced his own sighting in 2003. While driving with a friend in Salem Village near the amphitheater, they saw what looked like lights in a triangle shape with no structure, no shape, no outline, flying low above the treetops. They slowed down to examine what they were seeing, and the lights flew in a straight line over their car. Then it turned and moved away. Apparently, it was making a god awful noise. It wasn't like jet noise, but something organic, alive sounding almost, but still in a machine way.
Interesting.
They didn't say it was a UFO and didn't say it was some kind of alien ship. They just know it was nothing normal.
Mm-hmm.
Usual, yeah. These little passages jump all around from time to time. This one says in 1976, the Virginia Beach Department had started I think this was the police department, had started taking reports of sightings using a specific form that had been requested by a national UFO organization. The officer would write the details down and pass along the information to a central UFO hotline. Okay, sorry, I'm going to go back. This kid that saw this started doing a bunch of research after this, so this is still part of his story. This is where some of his story originates, of the stuff that he, found out. Excuse me. What's happening? Excuse me. Sorry about me.
It's not the wrong.
Not the Rona, but I'm getting like a hoarse voice all of a sudden, and this happened to us recorded recently.
I wonder if somebody's trying to talk. It did that right before Nona. Remember? Like her voice got all hoarse and everything.
Yes, I'm getting hoarse. My left hand is starting to get a little tingly.
Uh,
I don't know. I have had a ringing this morning off and on too
mm-hmm.
on my left side.
Maybe you're about.
Maybe.
What it sounds like. Tell them that you can't channel right now.
I can't channel right now, guys, because I've got to finish these stories so that we don't get cut off by demolition in my background. I can't stop coughing now, though, too, so something's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty much, I'm going to just paraphrase this. This person combined all of these police reports that he looked up. It was the same Salem high school kid. He combined more than like 3 decades of police reports into a book. The reports ended in 2008. There was a caller that said her daughter witnessed a circular object with lights on the bottom. The object was flying very low to the house, possibly about 6 stories high. The object disappeared behind the trees, and she also advised there was a humming noise. There's a bunch of like little caller stories, all about the same thing, kind of little like objects in the sky with lights that stopped, hovered, continued to move. But there's a ton of them, and he put together 3 decades worth in a little book.
Wow. I gotta check
and
out.
It's funny because I guess Chesapeake police also had a UFO sighting policy that started in 1977 that instructed officers to forward information about reports to the UFO Central in Illinois.
To the where? Say that again.
Yeah. Because of the system changes, the Chesapeake Department could not give a reporter any UFO sighting reports for the story. Anyways.
You're starting to break.
Chesapeake police weren't allowed to give any of the reports out or something.
Okay. You're on delay all of a sudden.
Are you there? Are you frozen? What's happening?
Are you there? Can you see
We're
me?
having some kind of a issue here.
Can you hear me?
You're breaking up too.
Great.
Okay. Try to talk. See what
Hello?
happens.
Can you hear me? Can you
You
hear
are
me?
too. So I don't know if
Hello?
it's
Oh,
Ralph, who can you hear? Who can you hear right now? Can you hear either of us? Can you hear both of us? Can you hear none of us? Who's lagging?
oh no.
I can hear you.
You can hear.
Yes.
Okay. You're on like lag, so your voice, you like your.
Apparently, Ralph says we both look good on that end.
Okay. Like I can see your mouth moving, but like your mouth doesn't match with your
So,
words.
all right.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's our cue that we're going to have to sign off because Christina can't hear me. And we are lagging very badly. So, thank you
Great.
for watching. Thank you for
Yeah.
tuning in. We're going to upload this